Right now at 6, the search for a suspect.
Interfering with people's vote is un-American.
Ballots destroyed by fire in both Vancouver and Portland, and police say the cases are connected. I'm Evan Watson, and I'm following the investigations.
Plus, how to find out if your ballot was affected and how to get a replacement.
Then, a deadly week in East Portland as neighbors demand more traffic enforcement.
I mean, right now, do you hear anybody going 30 miles per hour?
And later, a new life for a long-time dream of a public market in Portland.
And we need to revitalize, and we need to really highlight what we do best, and that is the culinary art.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Our top story here at 6, ballot boxes in Vancouver and Portland were set on fire this morning, and investigators believe the cases are connected. In Clark County, potentially hundreds of ballots were destroyed in a drop box at the Fisher's Landing Transit Center off Southeast 164th Avenue on Vancouver's east side. Then in Southeast Portland, a fire in a drop box outside the Multnomah County Elections Division on Southeast Morrison destroyed 3 ballots.
So let's get right to live team coverage. Tim Gordon is looking into what voters should do if they think their ballots were damaged. But first to Evan Watson live in Vancouver with the latest on the search for this suspected arsonist. Evan?
Yeah, David, well, we've got an update here in the last hour. Clark County and Vancouver taking some steps here. We know Clark County Sheriff's Office and Vancouver Police Department have now committed to increasing their patrols and monitoring these ballot boxes from now through the election. In fact, a Vancouver Police Department car just showed up a few minutes ago. I'm at the location where the ballot box was destroyed by fire. The ballots were burned by fire earlier today, but that box has now been replaced. And I can tell you also an update that Clark County elections officers and workers are going to be monitoring these boxes 24/7 starting in about a day or two. I just confirmed that with the county auditor, and even just minutes ago, Clark County picked up a lot of the ballots that were dropped off here today after they replaced this box. So these fires caused alarm bells all over, and one of the assistant police chiefs told me that this is clear that these attacks were targeted and meant to interfere with the election. A smoking ballot drop box in Vancouver, Washington, opened to find hundreds of burning ballots early Monday morning.
It is a direct attack on democracy.
Investigators say someone used an incendiary device to pierce through the outside of a ballot box and start a fire near the Fisher's Landing Transit Center. It's the same technique that was used 30 minutes earlier in Southeast Portland outside the Multnomah County Elections Office, and earlier this month at a different Vancouver drop box.
There was enough evidence collected at all 3 scenes that lead us to believe that all 3 incidents are connected.
The Portland Police Bureau believes the suspect drove this dark-colored Volvo, which is tied to the 2 other Dropbox cases in Vancouver. This video shows officers removing the device from the Portland ballot box.
Acts like this are targeted and they're intentional.
In Portland, a fire suppressant canister limited the damage to just 3 ballots, and elections officials know the 3 voters who need replacements.
It worked exactly as it was supposed to, and coated the entire inside of the box with that dry chemical suppressant. And yes, they are in every ballot drop box in Multnomah County.
In Vancouver, the fire suppressant didn't work. Investigators don't yet know why it failed. A new suppressor had been installed earlier this year. Responders scooped up the smoldering and rained-on ballots into a bag to try and salvage them.
We are still in the process of coming with a closer number, but certainly was hundreds.
Burn marks and ash on the ground, signs of the damage.
Why anyone would destroy someone's votes, their voices, is beyond me.
Elections officials replaced both ballot boxes, and voters are using both locations to drop off their ballots again.
Voters can trust that we're taking steps to ensure that the ballot boxes are safe.
Law enforcement officials on both sides of the Columbia River said they'll be increasing patrols and surveillance of drop boxes from now through Election Day. The Vancouver Police Department tells me they have surveillance video from this morning's fire here, but they're not releasing it to the public because this investigation is ongoing. If someone is arrested, they could face a litany of charges, anywhere from arson to election interference. Also, the FBI is investigating this. And as a last point, if you're one of the voters who voted in this replaced ballot box here where the fire was, and they brought in a whole new box earlier today, between this morning and just a couple of minutes ago, I can tell you that your ballots have now been picked up by elections officials, and those will probably get processed shortly. Back to you.
Yeah, some reassurance there. Thank you so much, Evan.
All right, let's get to Tim Gordon now in the newsroom with what people can do if they think their ballot was damaged or destroyed. Tim?
Right. Well, the first thing to do is to check to see if your ballot's been received. You can do that by contacting your elections office, whether it's in Clark or Multnomah County, because the first thing that happens when your ballot arrives at those offices is that it's marked as received. If it's not there and you think it should be, then you will be able to get and vote a replacement ballot. Elections offices will only count the first ballot from someone, so if you complete a second ballot and your first one turns up, well, it won't be counted. But if it was burned up, your replacement ballot will be your voice. We were at the Clark County Elections Office in Vancouver as Barb Hoffman was voting for a second time. She believes her ballot was in that drop box that was torched, and she had something to say about it.
My vote's important as the person who burned my ballot. And no matter who you're voting for, that's your right. It doesn't matter. So we need to respect each and every person and their rights to vote.
Now, Clark County Elections says if they mail a new ballot to someone today or tomorrow, it should get to them in time. But to be sure, do as Barb did and go in person.
But if they have any questions about it, contact us, get a replacement ballot. We want to make sure every legitimate voter gets their ballot and votes it by election day.
They sure do. Also, anyone also can go online and check the status of your ballot. Both Oregon and Washington have that on their Secretary of State websites. And we have the links and more information at kgw.com. Christine?
Yeah, really good information. Tim Gordon reporting from the newsroom. Thank you, Tim. We'll have more tonight at 11, but in the meantime, stay with KGW online and through social media for the very latest on this developing story, as well as everything you need to know about the election.
In your headlines, Portland police are investigating a string of overnight break-ins at businesses on the South Waterfront. At least 5 stores had glass windows or doors smashed. Surveillance video shared with KGW shows a suspect going into one shop, checking the cash register and leaving, all in a matter of seconds. While most businesses told us nothing was taken, the repairs alone could cost them thousands.
Portland's second mass-sanctioned campsite for homeless people is about to open. Mayor Ted Wheeler held a news conference at the site today, and neighborhood protesters were there too. The new spot will be the first city-run shelter offering both tiny homes and space for RVs for nearly 200 people. It's easier to get in as well, meaning no background checks. Also, being sober is not a requirement. Case management staff will be there 24/7. Coming up on the story at 6:30, our Blair Best will explain why it took so long for that site to open after a year in the making.
After months of negotiations and a nearly week-long strike, workers at local Fred Meyer and QFC stores have voted to ratify a new 3-year contract. According to their union, the new contract includes wage increases, enhanced dental benefits, strengthened retirement security, and maintains health care coverage for employees. The union represents more than 11,000 Fred Meyer and QFC workers in Oregon and Southwest Washington.
Oregon's record-breaking wildfire season has officially come to a close. Today, the Oregon Department of Forestry ended all remaining fire restrictions. Nearly 2 million acres of forest and rangeland across the state burned this year, almost doubling the previous record set in 2012. Governor Tina Kotek has asked the Biden administration for help with disaster recovery in the hardest hit counties. Matt?
Hey, Christine, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, wildfire season doesn't end until the fall rains and mountain snow arrive, and they have over the last couple of weeks. Cannon Beach, though, right now is getting some nice clearing. Sun's gone down 50 degrees. It's going to cool off pretty quickly tonight, and with the clearing sky, we're going to get fog forming in the valleys. You can see there are still showers out here, but they're becoming fewer and farther between. This batch was producing thunder and lightning in Clark County just a bit ago. That has now just been degraded basically to just showers as it rolls on up into the Cascades, which are getting new snow. Here's timberline up in the Mount Hood National Forest at 6,000 feet. Been about 3-4 inches of new snow there right now. The snow showers will actually pick up in about 15 minutes as that next batch rolls on in, and it's 29 degrees. So yes, we have close the book on wildfire season with that mountain snow. There is more mountain snow coming Wednesday and into Thursday. That, of course, is Halloween, and the forecast doesn't look great. Got to be honest with you about this. We're going to see frequent showers throughout the day on Thursday into the evening hours, only top out at 52, which means it'll be in the 40s for most of the bewitching hours. So it's going to be a cool and wet one. Plan accordingly, guys.
All right, Matt, thanks for that. Now at 6, a deadly crash this morning marks the 4th fatal crash on Portland's east side in just a week.
Let's bring in our Daisy Caballero, who spoke with people living near those crash locations. Daisy.
Yeah, every single person, neighbor in business that we spoke to today tells us that they are unfortunately not surprised and are demanding some change. Now, last Monday, 2 cyclists died when cars hit them at 2 different locations. One off Southeast 128th and Gleason near Menlo Park Elementary School, and the other at Northeast 105th Avenue and Marks Street. Then on Thursday, Portland police say a car ran over a woman on Southeast Stark and 99th Avenue. A preliminary investigation suggests she was clinging to the outside of a moving car and fell off. She later died at the hospital. People on the east side are now demanding the city make some changes to make the roads safer.
Speed trap cameras for sure. Because if you notice in any area where there is a speed trap camera, everybody slows down.
I think if the public knew that the city of Portland and the police department were really cracking down and you did some hard time for breaking the law, it might slow down at least.
This morning, another person died after 2 cars crashed near Northeast Halsey and 118th Avenue. A second person involved in the crash was taken to the hospital. Now, we did reach out to PBOT for comment on their Vision Zero campaign, and a spokesperson reached out and sent us this statement that reads in part, quote, "While we have made some safety improvements on those streets, we have more improvements coming soon on high crash corridors in East Portland. We need everyone to take steps today to make our streets safer." David and Christine, back to you guys.
Appreciate your reporting, Daisy. Thank you.